You cut your finger chopping wood. It's a small cut. You barely notice it. 3 days later, you're dead. You drink water from the wrong stream. It looks clean. It tastes fine. Within 24 hours, you're vomiting so violently you can't stand. Within a week, you're in the ground. You say the wrong thing to the wrong person in a saloon. A simple disagreement over a card game. You're shot before you can apologize. No trial, no justice. Just a bullet and a shallow grave. This wasn't bad luck. This was daily life in early California. Between 1848 and 1880, California was the most dangerous place you could possibly be. Not because of wild animals or natural disasters, though those existed too, but because every single aspect of existence was a minefield of lethal mistakes. One wrong step, one bad decision, one moment of carelessness, and you were done. The water you drank could kill you. The food you ate could poison you. The people you worked with could rob you. The authorities you trusted could hang you without trial. The job you needed to survive could crush you, burn you, bury you alive. There was no margin for error, no second chances, no safety net. And the people who died weren't reckless fools taking stupid risks. They were ordinary people making ordinary mistakes that in any other time or place would mean nothing. But in early California, ordinary mistakes were fatal. This isn't a story about adventure or frontier spirit. This is a story about a place so unforgiving, so brutal, so indifferent to human life that simply existing there required perfect vigilance every single moment of every single day. And if you slipped up even once, if you got tired, if you got distracted, if you just didn't know better, you paid with your life. Let me show you exactly how. It's January 1848. James Marshall discovers gold at Sutter's mill in Coloma, California. Within months, word spreads across the globe. And within a year, over 80,000 people descend on California like a human avalanche. They come from everywhere. Americans from the East Coast, Chinese laborers, Mexican miners, European immigrants, Australian fortune seekers, all of them chasing the same dream of instant wealth. But here's what they find when they arrive. Nothing. No cities, no infrastructure, no government, no law, no hospitals, no clean water systems, no housing, no safety. California in 1849 is essentially a lawless frontier territory with a population that explodes from under 15,000 to over 250,000 in just 4 years. And nothing, absolutely nothing, has been built to support them. San Francisco is a muddy chaos of tents and hastily built wooden shacks. The streets are open sewers. Ships are abandoned in the harbor, their crews having deserted to search for gold. There are no police you can trust. No courts that function properly, no fire departments, no building codes. The mining camps scattered throughout the Sierra Nevada are even worse. They're just collections of canvas tents in the wilderness. No roads, no supplies, no medical care, no protection from the elements or from each other. And the environment itself is hostile. Summer temperatures in the valleys soar above 100 degrees. You're working in full sun with no shade, no sunscreen, no understanding of heat stroke. You drink warm, contaminated water and hope for the best. Winter in the mountain camps is brutally cold. Snow piles up 10, 15, 20 feet high. Temperatures drop well below zero. And you're living in a canvas tent with no heat source except a small fire that might burn down your shelter in your sleep. The geography is treacherous. Steep mountains, rushing rivers, unstable ground from all the mining. Flash floods that appear without warning, landslides that bury entire camps, earthquakes that shake the ground beneath your feet. And remember, this isn't a state yet. California doesn't become a state until September 1850. That means for the first 2 years of the gold rush, there's essentially no legitimate government at all. Just makeshift councils, vigilante committees, and whoever has the most guns. There are no established rules, no agreed-upon laws, no authorities to appeal to when something goes wrong. It's pure chaos held together by nothing but greed and desperation. By 1850, the easy surface gold is already gone. What's left requires industrial equipment, expertise, and capital. The dream of striking it rich with a pan and a pickaxe is already dead for most people. So now you have 250,000 desperate people trapped in a place with no infrastructure, no law, no safety systems, and no opportunities. And in this environment, mistakes that would be minor inconveniences anywhere else become death sentences, because there's no backup plan, no emergency services, no social safety net, no one to help you when things go wrong. You're on your own. And if you make one small mistake, just one, there's nothing and no one to save you. That's the world you're living in. That's early California. And now let me show you all the ways it could kill you. Let's start with something simple: water. You need water to survive. That's basic. But in early California, drinking water is one of the most dangerous things you can do. The rivers and streams are contaminated with everything you can imagine. Upstream, mining operations pour mercury, arsenic, and other toxic chemicals into the water. They use hydraulic mining that washes tons of sediment and minerals into the waterways. Further upstream, mining camps dump human waste directly into the rivers. Dead animals rot in the water. Garbage piles up along the banks. And you're downstream, filling your canteen from the same river. You have no idea what's in it. No understanding of bacteria or waterborne diseases. You can't see cholera or typhoid. The water looks fine, so you drink it. And that one decision, that simple, necessary act of drinking water, might be what kills you. Cholera can kill you within hours. Typhoid takes longer but is just as deadly. Dysentery leaves you so dehydrated and weak that even if the disease doesn't kill you, you're too sick to work, too sick to get food, too sick to take care of yourself. And there's no treatment, no antibiotics, no IV fluids. You either survive or you don't. Now let's talk about food. Food in early California is expensive, scarce, and often contaminated or spoiled. Meat sits in the heat with no refrigeration. It's covered in flies. It smells bad. But you're hungry and it's all you can afford, so you eat it anyway. Food poisoning in 1850 isn't like food poisoning today. There's no emergency room to go to. No activated charcoal. No IV fluids to keep you hydrated. You're alone in a tent, vomiting and convulsing, hoping you survive the night. Or you eat canned food, one of the new technologies that's supposed to make frontier life easier. But the canning process isn't perfected yet. Botulism is common, and botulism is one of the most lethal poisons known to humans. You eat contaminated canned food and you're dead within days, paralyzed and suffocating. Even the act of preparing food is dangerous. You're cooking over an open fire in a canvas tent or wooden shack. One spark, one moment of inattention, and your shelter is in flames. And fire in these camps spreads instantly because everything is wood and canvas packed close together. San Francisco burns to the ground 6 times between 1849 and 1851. 6 times. Entire neighborhoods wiped out in hours. People burned to death in their homes. Others are trampled in the chaos trying to escape. And your shelter, if you can call it that, offers almost no protection from anything. You're sleeping in a canvas tent on dirt. When it rains, water floods in. Your bedding gets soaked. Your supplies get ruined. You're cold, wet, and miserable. And being cold and wet in early California often means pneumonia. And pneumonia often means death. In winter in the mountain camps, the cold itself can kill you. You go to sleep and you just don't wake up. Hypothermia, or carbon monoxide poisoning from trying to heat your tent with a fire that consumes all the oxygen. You step outside your tent in the dark to relieve yourself, and you fall into a mining shaft someone dug and didn't mark. You break your leg at the bottom of a 15-foot pit. No one can hear you screaming. You die of exposure or infection down there and they don't find your body for weeks. You're walking back to camp after dark and you step wrong. You twist your ankle, it seems minor, but you're miles from camp, you can't walk, it's getting cold. By morning you're dead from exposure, or you're simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. A tree falls during a windstorm. A rock slide comes down the mountain. A flash flood rushes through your camp in the middle of the night. You're asleep. You never see it coming. Every single aspect of daily survival is a potential death trap, and you can't avoid all of them. You have to drink, you have to eat, you have to sleep somewhere, you have to work. And every time you do any of those things, you're rolling the dice. One contaminated meal, one infected cut, One cold night, one moment of bad luck, that's all it takes. And in early California, everyone's luck runs out eventually. Now let's talk about work. Because if daily survival is dangerous, working in early California is a death sentence in slow motion. You need money to survive. Food costs 10 times what it did back home. Rent for a filthy shared bunk is $50 a month. A simple meal costs $5, so you have to work. You have no choice. And the work available is some of the most dangerous labor imaginable. Let's say you're working in a mine. Every single day, you're surrounded by ways to die. The tunnels are unstable. Support beams are minimal because lumber is expensive. The mine owners cut corners. You're working underground and you hear a crack. The ceiling is coming down. You have maybe 2 seconds to react. Most people don't make it. Cave-ins happen constantly. Men are buried alive, suffocating in the dark while their coworkers try desperately to dig them out. Usually they don't reach them in time. Or you're using explosives to blast through rock. Dynamite is unpredictable. Fuses are unreliable. You light the fuse, you run, you hope you timed it right. Sometimes the fuse is faster than you thought. The explosion catches you. You're blown apart. Sometimes the explosive doesn't go off. You wait, is it a dud, or is it just delayed? You go back to check, it explodes in your face. Or you're drilling into rock and you hit a pocket of gas, it ignites. The entire tunnel becomes an inferno. Men are burned alive or suffocate from smoke inhalation. The air underground is toxic. You're breathing rock dust, silica particles, chemical fumes from mercury and arsenic used in gold extraction. Every breath is damaging your lungs. Black lung disease, silicosis. Your lungs literally turn to stone over time and you drown in your own fluids. But you can't stop working. Because if you stop, you starve. Or maybe you're working on the railroad. That's somehow even more dangerous. You're laying track through the Sierra Nevada mountains. You're hanging off cliffs, drilling holes for explosives. One slip, one loose rope, one moment of vertigo and you fall hundreds of feet to your death. You're tunneling through granite mountains. The same cave-in risks. The same explosive risks. But now you're also dealing with snow, ice, and avalanches that can bury entire crews without warning. Chinese workers are given the most dangerous jobs. They're lowered down cliff faces in wicker baskets to set explosives. They're drilling and placing charges while dangling hundreds of feet in the air. They light the fuse and yank on the rope to be pulled up. Sometimes the rope breaks. Sometimes they're not pulled up fast enough. They're blown off the cliff or buried in the rockslide they just created. Hundreds of Chinese workers die building the transcontinental railroad. Their bodies are shipped back to China in barrels, or they're just buried where they fell. And here's the thing, there are no safety regulations. None. No inspections. No worker protections. No compensation if you're injured or killed. You get hurt on the job, you're fired. You can't work, you can't eat. If you die, your family gets nothing. Someone else takes your place the next day. Workplace accidents aren't investigated. They're just accepted as the cost of doing business. Your life has no value beyond the labor you can provide. Let's say you avoid the mines and the railroad. You work on a farm or in a lumber camp. Still dangerous. You're felling trees with hand saws and axes. Trees fall unpredictably. A tree falls wrong, it crushes you. You're working with axes and saws all day. You're tired. Your hands are cold. You slip. The axe bites into your leg. You're bleeding out and the nearest doctor is 20 miles away. Or you're working with heavy machinery in a mill. There are no safety guards, no emergency shut-offs. Men lose fingers, hands, arms to the machinery. They bleed to death before anyone can help them, and all of this for wages that barely keep you alive. You're paid maybe $3 to $6 a day if you're white, half that if you're Chinese, and every penny goes to food and shelter. There's no savings, no future, no way out. You work until you die, and you die because of the work. One small mistake, one moment where you're tired, where you're not paying perfect attention, where you just don't see the danger in time and you're dead. That's not an exaggeration. That's just the reality of working in early California. Every single day is a gamble, and the house always wins eventually. Let's talk about what happens when you get sick or injured in early California. Because that one mistake, that cut, that fever, that broken bone is almost certainly going to kill you. You cut yourself on a piece of metal. It's a small cut on your hand. You wrap it in a dirty rag and keep working because you can't afford to stop. Within a day, the cut is red and swollen. Within 2 days, red streaks are running up your arm. That's blood poisoning, sepsis. Your body is being overwhelmed by bacteria from that dirty rag, from the contaminated water you washed it with, from your own unwashed hands. There are no antibiotics, no IV antibiotics, no way to stop the infection once it takes hold. Within 3 days, you're feverish and delirious. Within 4 days, you're dead. This happens constantly. A scraped knee, a splinter, a blister that gets infected. Anything that breaks the skin is a potential death sentence because there's no way to treat infection. Or you break your leg in a mining accident. It's a clean break, painful but not immediately life-threatening. In the modern world, you'd get a cast and be fine in a few months. But in early California, there's no proper medical care. A self-taught doctor sets your leg. He doesn't wash his hands. He doesn't sterilize his tools. He doesn't know how. The break gets infected. Within a week, your leg is swollen, hot, and oozing pus. The infection is spreading to your bloodstream. The doctor tells you the leg has to come off. There's no anesthesia. They give you a bottle of whiskey and a leather strap to bite down on. They hold you down and saw through your leg with a bone saw. You pass out from the pain. You wake up and your leg is gone, but the infection is still there. And now you have a massive open wound that will also get infected. Most amputees die within days from shock, blood loss, or infection. Or let's say you get sick with something internal. Cholera, typhoid, pneumonia, tuberculosis. There's no treatment. Doctors don't understand what causes these diseases. They try bloodletting, which makes you weaker. They give you mercury or arsenic-based medicines that poison you further. They tell you to rest and pray. Cholera kills you in hours. You lose fluids so fast that your skin turns gray and your eyes sink into your skull. You're conscious the whole time, feeling your body shut down. Typhoid kills you slowly over weeks. High fever, delirium, intestinal bleeding. You waste away while people watch helplessly. Tuberculosis kills you over months or years. You cough up blood. You lose weight. You literally waste away while spreading the disease to everyone around you in the cramped, poorly ventilated spaces where people live. And childbirth. Childbirth is one of the most dangerous things a woman can do. Women give birth in filthy tents with no medical care. If there's complications, hemorrhaging, breech birth, infection, both mother and baby often die. Even if the birth goes well, postpartum infections kill countless women. Doctors don't wash their hands between patients. They spread infection from one woman to another without knowing it. The infant mortality rate is staggering. Babies die from disease, malnutrition, exposure, and accidents. Parents bury multiple children and just accept it as normal. Here's the terrifying reality. In early California, any injury or illness that would be minor today is potentially fatal. You get a fever, you might die. You break a bone, you might die. You get a bad cut, you might die. You catch a cold that turns into pneumonia, you die. There's no safety net, no emergency medicine, no antibiotics or vaccines or sterile procedures. One small mistake, one moment of bad luck, one infection you can't even see, and you're done. That's what makes early California so lethal. It's not just the big dramatic dangers. It's the small things, the everyday things, and any one of them can kill you. Now let's talk about the human threats. Because in early California, other people are just as likely to kill you as disease or accidents. Early California is one of the most violent places in American history. Murder is shockingly common, and the violence isn't just random. It's built into the structure of society. In San Francisco between 1849 and 1856, over 1,200 murders are recorded. That's more than one murder per day in a city of only 30,000 to 50,000 people, and those are just the recorded murders. Hundreds more go unreported. Why is it so violent? Because there's no functioning law enforcement, because life is cheap, because everyone is armed and desperate, because there are no consequences for violence. You make one small social mistake. You insult someone, you cheat at cards, you look at someone the wrong way, you refuse to buy someone a drink, and you're shot or stabbed. No warning, no second chance, just sudden death. Arguments turn deadly in seconds. A man bumps into you in a crowded saloon. Words are exchanged, tempers flare, guns are drawn, someone dies, and everyone else just steps over the body and keeps drinking. Justice is arbitrary and often non-existent. There are sheriffs and judges, but they're overwhelmed, corrupt, or simply don't care. Trials are rare. Convictions are rarer. So communities form vigilante committees, groups of armed men who decide to take justice into their own hands. They arrest people without authority. They hold mock trials. They hang people in the street. In San Francisco in 1851 and again in 1856, vigilante committees essentially take over the city. They execute dozens of men, some guilty, some probably innocent, none given a fair trial. And here's the danger: you could be the target. You could be accused of a crime you didn't commit. Someone could lie about you to settle a grudge. The vigilantes could grab you, try you, and hang you all in the same day. No appeals, no due process, just a rope and a mob. If you're Chinese, Mexican, Native American, or Black, it's even worse. You can be killed for almost any reason or no reason at all, and there will be no investigation, no justice, no accountability. Chinese miners are routinely robbed and murdered. Their claims are stolen. Their bodies are left in the woods. And the law does nothing because California law prohibits Chinese people from testifying against white people in court. Native Americans are hunted like animals. The state of California literally pays bounties for Native American scalps. Militias organize hunting parties. They massacre entire villages, men, women, children, and they're celebrated for it. Mexican landowners are driven off their property through violence and legal manipulation. They're lynched. Their families are terrorized. And the authorities look the other way. One wrong word, one act of standing up for yourself, one moment of being in the wrong place at the wrong time, and you're dead, or maybe you're robbed. Thieves are everywhere. You strike gold and word gets out. Men follow you back to camp. They kill you in your sleep and take everything. Or you're simply walking down the street and someone decides they want your boots, your coat, your money. They shoot you and take what they want. Your body is found in the morning. Nobody investigates, or you trust the wrong person. You partner with someone on a claim, you work together for weeks. Then one night he kills you, takes the gold, and tells everyone you left town. There's no police investigation, no forensics, no justice. You're just gone. Even the institutions meant to protect you are dangerous. Corrupt lawmen rob people. Judges take bribes. Juries are intimidated or bought. You cannot trust anyone. You cannot rely on the law. You cannot assume that society will protect you. One small mistake in judgment, trusting the wrong person, saying the wrong thing, being in the wrong place can get you killed. And there's nothing you can do about it. That's life in early California. You're always one mistake away from a violent death. If making mistakes in early California is deadly for everyone, it's exponentially more dangerous if you're a woman, a child, or an immigrant. Because for you, the margin for error isn't just small, it's virtually non-existent. Let's start with women. If you're a woman in early California, every single day requires perfect vigilance just to survive. One wrong decision, one moment of vulnerability, and you're assaulted, exploited, or killed. You're outnumbered by men at least 10 to 1. You're seen as property, not as a person. You have almost no legal rights. You can't vote. If you're married, your husband legally owns you and everything you have. If you're traveling alone and you trust the wrong person, if you accept help from someone who seems kind, if you take a job that seems legitimate, you can disappear. You can be forced into prostitution. You can be assaulted and murdered. And no one will investigate because you're just a woman and women are disposable. If you're working as a prostitute and thousands of women are forced into prostitution because it's the only work that pays enough to survive, you're vulnerable to violence every single day. You're beaten by clients, you're raped, you're murdered, and the law doesn't care. If you fight back against a man who's hurting you, you're the one who gets arrested. If you try to leave an abusive husband, you have nowhere to go. If you report an assault, you're not believed. One mistake, trusting the wrong man, walking down the wrong street, saying no to the wrong person, and you're dead. Or worse than dead. Chinese women have it even worse. Thousands are trafficked to California and forced into sexual slavery. They're literally bought and sold. They're locked in brothels. If they try to escape, they're hunted down and killed as examples to others. One attempt to run. One plea for help to the wrong person. One moment of hope, and you're beaten to death. Now let's talk about children. If you're a child in early California, you don't get to make mistakes. You work adult jobs. You face adult dangers. And if you mess up, you die just like an adult would. You're working in a mine, you're hauling ore carts. You're small, so they send you into the tightest, most dangerous tunnels. You get tired. Your attention wavers for just a second. The cart runs over you. The tunnel collapses. You're gone. Or you're working around heavy machinery in a lumber mill. You're tired. You're not paying attention. Your hand goes where it shouldn't. You lose fingers. You lose a hand. You bleed out before anyone can help you. Or you're simply hungry. You steal a loaf of bread because you haven't eaten in 2 days. You're caught. And vigilantes don't care that you're 10 years old. They hang you as an example. Children are orphaned constantly. Parents die from disease, accidents, violence. And if you're an orphan, you're completely vulnerable. You're exploited. You're abused. You're sold into labor or prostitution. One wrong person takes you in and your life is over. Now let's talk about immigrants. If you're Chinese, every single day is a minefield. You're targeted by racist laws, racist violence, racist exploitation. One mistake, working the wrong claim, being in the wrong town, defending yourself against a white attacker, and you're killed. You can't testify in court, so white people can rob you, beat you, kill you with impunity. If you fight back, you're the one who's punished. You're doing the most dangerous railroad work. You're given faulty equipment, inadequate safety measures, impossible quotas. You're expendable. One slip, one mistake, one moment of bad luck, and you're dead. And they replace you the next day. If you're Mexican or Native American, it's even worse. You're facing systematic violence, dispossession, and genocide. For women, children, and immigrants in early California, there's no forgiveness. No second chances. No safety. One small mistake and you're gone. If you want to see what happens when the margin for error disappears completely, look at the winter of 1862-1863, the Great Flood. It starts raining in late December 1861, and it doesn't stop. It rains for 43 days straight. Not normal rain, biblical apocalyptic rain, 43 consecutive days. The Central Valley of California, an area the size of multiple states, becomes an inland sea. Rivers overflow their banks. Towns disappear underwater. Farms are destroyed. Thousands of people drown. In the mining camps in the Sierra Nevada, different disasters unfold. Flash floods roar down canyons without warning. You're sleeping in your tent. You hear a roar. You have maybe 30 seconds to get out. Most people don't make it. They're swept away, drowned, or buried under debris. Mudslides tear through camps. Entire hillsides collapse, burying tents and people alike. You're inside when you hear the rumble. By the time you understand what's happening, it's too late. You're buried alive. And for those who survive the initial flooding, the real horror begins. You're trapped. The roads are gone. The bridges are washed away. You can't leave. You can't get supplies. You can't get help. Food runs out. You're starving in a camp that's half underwater, surrounded by mud and debris. You try to forage, but everything is flooded or destroyed. Disease explodes: cholera, typhoid, dysentery. The floodwaters are contaminated with human waste, dead animals, and toxic mining runoff. But it's the only water available. You drink it because you have no choice. And then you die from what you drank. Hypothermia kills people by the hundreds. You're wet. You're cold. You can't get dry. You can't get warm. You slowly freeze to death even though the temperature is above freezing. And here's the crushing reality. Any small mistake you made before the flood becomes fatal during it. You didn't stockpile enough food. You starve. You built your tent in a low spot. You drown. You trusted someone who steals your supplies when things get desperate. You die. You drink the wrong water. You get cholera and die in agony. During this crisis, there's zero margin for error. Every decision is life or death, and most people make at least one wrong decision. The official death toll from the Great Flood is over 4,000. But the real number is probably much higher because so many people die in remote mining camps and are never counted. This is what early California does to people. It takes away every safety net, every backup plan, every second chance. And when crisis hits, all the small mistakes you've made, all the vulnerabilities you've accumulated come due at once, and you pay with your life. Now think about your life. Today, right now, you cut your finger, you wash it with clean water, you put on a bandage. Maybe you put some antibiotic ointment on it. It heals in a few days. No big deal. In early California, that same cut could kill you in less than a week. You drink water from your tap without thinking about it. It's clean, it's safe, it's tested and regulated. You've never worried that drinking water might give you cholera. In early California, every sip of water was a gamble with your life. You go to work. There are safety regulations, OSHA standards, emergency exits, fire suppression systems, safety equipment. If you're injured on the job, there's workers' compensation, ambulances, emergency rooms, trauma surgeons. In early California, workplace injuries were usually death sentences. You get sick, you go to the doctor, you get antibiotics, you get X-rays and MRIs and blood tests, you get treatment, you recover. In early California, getting sick meant hoping you'd survive because there was no real treatment for anything. You have a disagreement with someone, you argue, maybe you're angry, maybe they're angry, but you're not worried they'll kill you on the spot. There are laws, there's law enforcement, there are consequences for violence. In early California, arguments routinely ended in murder. If you're a woman, you have rights, legal protections, you can own property, you can work, you can leave dangerous situations. You can report crimes committed against you and expect to be believed. In early California, women had none of that. If you're a child, you go to school. You're protected by child labor laws. You're not working 12-hour days in dangerous conditions. You're not considered expendable. In early California, children were worked to death and nobody cared. The difference between now and then isn't just technology, it's the margin for error. Today, you can make small mistakes and survive them. You can get sick and recover. You can have a bad day and not die. In early California, you couldn't. One mistake, one piece of bad luck, one moment of inattention, and you were done. That's the difference, and you should be grateful for it every single day. One small mistake could kill you in early California. That's not hyperbole. That's not exaggeration. That's just the truth. A cut, a sip of water, a wrong word, a moment of carelessness, a decision made when you were tired, a person you trusted who betrayed you. Any of these things that would be minor problems today, could end your life in early California. The people who died weren't stupid. They weren't reckless. They were just human. They got tired. They got distracted. They didn't know better. They trusted the wrong person. They had one moment of bad luck, and that was enough. Thousands upon thousands of people went to California chasing a dream, and most of them died there. Not from grand disasters or dramatic violence, though those happened too, but from small mistakes that would mean nothing today. We live in a world that forgives small mistakes, a world with safety nets, with regulations, with emergency services, with medicine, with laws that protect us, with infrastructure that keeps us safe. Early California had none of that. And the result was a place where simply being human, making normal human mistakes, could kill you. So the next time you take a sip of clean water, or put a bandage on a cut, or go to work knowing you're protected by safety regulations, remember what you escaped. Remember that you live in a time and place where one small mistake won't kill you, and be grateful. If you want to learn more about what life was really like in early America, check out our other historical documentaries about different states. Because the more you understand what came before, the more you'll appreciate what we have now.